Dolores O'Riordan was the distinctive voice behind the multi-million selling rock band, the Cranberries. In 1993, their debut single, Linger, became a major hit, catapulting the Irish group to international fame.
Having fronted the Cranberries for 14, 15 years, I was always kind of in a band, and there was always a security blanket to that. But I kind of always felt that at a certain stage in my life I'd like to emerge as a solo artist, and the time had come.
Now, O'Riordan is releasing her first solo album. It's called Are You Listening? And it was inspired by her life since the Cranberries.
Over the 4 years there were a lot of experiences which were very valid when it came to material, songwriting material. There was extreme sadness and there was extreme happiness. I mean, on the sad side of things, my mother-in-law died, and she had a very long, weary illness. She died of cancer, so she had a very slow death, and it was very, very sad to see somebody going through all that. But then a couple of years later, my husband and I had a baby girl, so that brought a lot of happiness back into life.
In 1994, O'Riordan married the Cranberries' tour manager, Don Burton. These days, they live with their children in both Ireland and Burton's native Canada. The album was largely written in their southern Ontario cottage.
This is where I come to write and escape and to kind of get inspired, get into that creative zone. It's really gorgeous because we're right on a lake, which is frozen now. It's really nice. It's kind of a nice holiday home to have. Looked at the window, it rained today.
O'Riordan considers the songs on Are You Listening to be her most personal to date. The singer attributes that to the comfort of having her own home rehearsal space and studio.
I used to have to go to these huge studios and whatnot, but that's it. It's like, this is the desk, these are the speakers, this is, I think it's the amplifier, that's the little keyboard which you can put your drums and everything down with this. Beautiful girl, beautiful girl.
Music critic Lisa Ledouceur has followed O'Riordan's career since the Cranberries.
40 million records, that's a lot of fans, and I'm sure a lot of fans that are going to be very happy to hear from her again, and people who have grown up at the same time that she was growing up. Maybe when they were 18 they could relate to Linger, and when they were in college they could relate to Zombie, and now they're going to relate to songs about motherhood and family and, you know, reflecting on that part of their life.
O'Riordan was only 18 when Linger topped the charts on both sides of the Atlantic. Fame and the isolation of constant touring eventually led her to a period of depression.
Looking back, I always think that after No Need to Argue, our second album, if I'd have taken a career break and came home and took a few years off, it wouldn't have happened. But, you know, there was kind of a certain amount of pressure from everybody, because you do become a commodity, and a huge commodity at that, because that's what happened. But, you know, you get burnt out. You know, you do have to come home and take a break and get your feet back on the ground.
When I think about Dolores from the Cranberries and where she might fit in the 21st century, I think a lot of people will appreciate her in the same way that they like Dido and these other sort of, you know, adult alternative, more mature but still cool female singers. It's something a little bit different, a little bit more alternative, but still very feminine.
There were no boundaries for me on this record, and I'm just representing myself. I'm not representing the three guys, so that in a way made me feel more creative freedom.